My name is Justin Angelo, and I'm from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I cannot remember a time that I did not listen to music. My dad was a huge influence in my life, so I grew up listening to Fleetwood Mac, Dave Matthews Band, John Mayer, Steve Miller Band, all the old kind of 70s stuff, Jim Croce, Christopher Cross, even though I grew up in the 90s, so I had like the best of the 90s music and then like the best of like the 70s and 80s. So I always considered myself more of like an older style singer-songwriter rather than a new age pop like Ed Sheeran or something like that. I started taking guitar lessons when I was like 12, and I took classical guitar lessons for about 4 years. And then I kind of stopped and started doing chords of my own, and then my dad had lyrics, so I would use his lyrics, and then eventually I just started kind of writing my own things, and then eventually I started doing music full-time, playing all the gigs with the contacts that my dad had from all the bars and everything. I'm a big stickler for song form, so I typically don't want to write like blues rock. I'd rather just write blues. And so I have songs that are more singer-songwriter, I have songs that are more islandy, I have songs that are more Latin-y, I have songs that are just straight blues, and I have other songs that just kind of, they're their own thing. They're a lot of resonance. I do some things in alternate tunings, so that makes it a little bit deeper and wider for an atmospheric perspective. I would say that that's my biggest thing, is just staying in the realm of a genre, because then you know where what it's for and what it is, and I feel like that's overall what my sound is. So before, you would have a bunch of bands that broke through the noise, so to speak, and they would get picked up by a label or somebody who was watching. So there was actually less bands to be found because people had to physically be out there. But now there's so many options to find bands that it's really more of what are you looking to find rather than what's out there. So I think that in a turn kind of pushes me a little bit more. I also think that to the same rate where that becomes a little bit harder, it's also a little bit easier to connect with everybody. So long as you have something and you're trying to connect with the right people, you know, staying in your niche, so to speak, and really kind of pushing that envelope of what you emulate, I think that's the best go. I feel like the biggest thing is that I want people to maintain true to themselves, and I want them to maintain true to the music. It's kind of hard to determine what that is because it's very subjective, but I think you're gonna hear it. You know, in general, you're gonna feel it, you're gonna know what it is, and that's the authentic piece of it, and there's always new stuff coming out. In a sense, like when I'm driving down the highway and I'm listening to it, I don't listen to it as some other band, I listen to it as that band with their marketing and how successful that has been, and it makes me happy, it brings me joy no matter what. So I feel like you're gonna hone in and you're gonna find it. I mean, energy attracts energy. I think it's one of those things where you're always gonna find that next thing. You have that drive to get to that next place, and then once you get there, kind of like, okay, what next? You know, what next? So I feel like that question's always going to be changing, but I'd say that the best places to play are always the places where, you know, the local music scene is accepted and people want to talk to you and do that. That way it's not just like, hey, come and set up my stuff and drink a beer and then tear down my stuff and I go home at quiet end of the night, you know? I like it when people are engaging and when people are adamant about that, so any place that I can make that my home, that's amazing. When I was opening up for Rusted Root, there was a lot of people there, and I got on stage, and before I got on, my hands were like shaking, but I wasn't nervous. I was just really excited and like super amped up. You know, when you're sitting there in front of 2,500 or 3,000 people, you're just kind of like, okay, this is cool. And I initially thought they were gonna have the band there. I pitched it to the guy and was like, hey, can I bring my band? He's like, oh no, you're gonna do it solo. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I got there, but the second I walked up on stage, like all that just went away. And then I played my first song, and after I went over, the crowd response was incredible. And I heard one of the fans who's in the front row yell out, play 41. And he must have heard it from the rendition of 41 that I did on my YouTube channel. So it was really cool to see that even though I was, you know, not from that part of town or not part of the same necessary genre as them, I was in that kind of frame, but I wasn't completely relevant to their sound. It was really cool to have that engagement and that presence that somebody took the time to find my stuff and find me online, and that meant a lot to me. I have a 4-song EP coming out. We just put out a single and a 12-song live band album. So upcoming, I have a 4-song EP, I have a 12-song album. I'm going to be doing some type of album in Boston. I'm not going to say much more than that. And then I'm going to Key West here pretty soon, so expect some islandy music to come out, and I have a special song about our armed forces coming out, so that'll be a real fun thing.
I could be
your knight in shining armor. If you can take my breath away, Queen of Hearts, why look any farther than right here? I'm yours to stay. I gave in right away. How can I not get lost in suspicion with our heavy guarded hearts? I seek to figure what makes you tick, though as the clocks run dry, we're melting away always, always. 'Cause I feel your heart. Don't you feel mine? We just need a little love sometimes. Well, I feel your heart. Don't you feel mine? We just need a little love sometimes. Tell me, how do I make the most of my time when it piles up against me miles high? So forget me not when I'm washed away, 'cause a good melody is all that it takes to say that I feel your heart. Don't you feel mine? We're stuck in the middle of our emotions at times. Though I feel your heart, don't you feel mine? We just need a little love sometimes. 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 Sometimes.
You've watched live at City View Sound. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content. Thank you.
Don't you feel mine?